We're just going back and forth.
All right, we're set. Welcome on in, everyone. My name is Nell. As always, joined by Nate and Ant. And then we have a special guest, Mr. Mondays himself. Gentlemen, Mondays, we'll start with you. How are you? How was your weekend? It was Pro Bowl weekend. We had some fun with the skill challenge, but how are you?
Listen, it's a great day. You can't really ever be upset. The Pro Bowl challenge was actually super cool. And unfortunately, I don't know. I feel like it was lacking a little this year compared to last year, but we can have a conversation about that later.
I mean, Trayvon Diggs almost tackled himself in the QB throw challenge. When he picked off Mac Jones and ran into the wall.
It was painful.
Yeah. And how are you, sir?
Wonderful, wonderful. My favorite people are here. It's a good day.
Well,
it's a good day.
And then Nate's got internet.
Yeah, no, my internet went down Sunday morning. They weren't sure if it was going to be fixed all the way up through today, Tuesday. So I was like, guys, I don't know if I'm going to be there. I would typically, if it was something as easy as like, let's say walking into Mordor, obviously I could do that, but I can't make the internet company fix it faster. So thankfully we did luck out there, and I'm happy to be here, happy to talk about football and all the good things in life.
Beautiful. Well, we got a fun show. It's Super Bowl week, which means we got a lot to talk about when it comes to Super Bowl. There was a lot of news coming out of almost every head coaching vacancy has now been filled. I think the only one left is Minnesota. But first, we kind of talked about Brian Flores and that lawsuit, and a lot of that came up, and a lot of discussion was brought up by Ant about minority representation in the league. And Ant and I talked about it, and we really want to give him a platform to kind of talk about, one, that representation in the league, specifically as a black man, and all that. So we're just going to let Ant kind of take this away. And what's up, man?
First of all, I just want to thank y'all, Rare Drop, for giving me and everybody the opportunity to talk about this. Just a few things just to get off my chest. First, let's talk about the Rooney Rule. You've been hearing it the last week or two. Definition: it was established in 2003. It requires teams to interview candidates of color for head coaching and senior football operation positions. That's what it was. That year, 6. They got 6 coaches of color. We are now in 2022, and right now we're currently sitting at 1. Mike Tomlin. Mike, my God, the Dolphins just hired a coordinator, a minority coordinator, to be their head coach. And then there's one for the New York Jets. So looks like from 2003 to 2022, we fell off. And we have a problem here. We do. We have the Brian Flores situation that's bringing to light a lot of the things that organizations and owners have been hiding, have been brushing off to the side. Yeah, this might jeopardize Flores having another coaching position. I hope it doesn't, but it needs to come to the circle, because I'm about to name you some candidates, some black coaches that's been in the league, that's called plays before, that's been doing it for a long time, and somehow none of them was filled as a head coach. We're going to start with Raheem Morris. He is the defensive coordinator for the Super Bowl contender Rams right now. He's doing a fantastic job. He was a coach in 2012 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He haven't had the chance since. He went to Atlanta, and he worked his way back up. He did share head coaching duties for the interim, and then he was let go. Leslie Frazier, offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, another one that's took their team deep in the playoffs. He was the head coach for Minnesota for 3 years. Still hasn't. Fantastic coach. Pep Hamilton, he's a quarterback coach for the Texans. He was talking about helping develop Deshaun Watson and future and Mills right now. He's there, sitting there, wanting an opportunity, even just for an offensive coordinator position. Same Texas team, Lovie Smith. Y'all remember Lovie Smith? He was the first black coach. He went to the Super Bowl for the Chicago Bears with Tony Dungy. It was the first Super Bowl with 2 minority coaches was coaching to each other. He took a team to the Super Bowl. Then he went back to the college, Illinois, and he took them way above into the college rankings. And then now he came back as a coordinator for the Texans. Some are saying that he is a front runner to get the now Jags position, but that's only because, let's be honest,
He got the Texans
Jags
job, by the way.
He did?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's the head coach now?
Yep.
Perfect. That's wonderful because it's ridiculous. He's on the sideline. He has experience. He called plays before. There's a lot of coaches. I'm gonna go straight to Joe Judge from the Giants. He was a special team coordinator. That's all he was, and he got a head coaching job for the Giants. But let's talk about a few more. Charlie Strong, if y'all remember him, he was a great college player. He worked side by side by Urban Meyer for 2 years and won for the national championship for the Florida Gators. Fantastic coach. He is now assistant head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Deuce Staley, former running back for the Eagles. He's now assistant head coach for the Lions. Ken Norton Jr., defensive coordinator for the Seahawks. These are names that you know, like they've been coordinators for years, but don't get an interview or they don't talk about the interview. Eric Bieniemy, myself, Nell, Nate, we talk about him every single week. It got to the point that Andy Reid said, hey, he calls all the plays on offense. And for Andy Reid, who is an offensive mind, to say that this guy is calling all the plays for Patrick Mahomes and somehow he still hasn't have a job? Why? There's been nothing, no scandals, no anything about this. How he's not. Byron Leftwich, I really thought when we got off air last Tuesday that he was going to get the job for the Jags. But we all know that the Jags wanted Josh McCown, who was a high school quarterback. He's not even the head coach for the high school team. But he knows somebody in that organization. They wanted to give him the job. Now they said no to him. Now they're looking again for it. I'm really, it's frustrating. Y'all, my squad, my team, y'all understand. It's frustrating to see that we implement this rule. And we can't blame Roger Goodell. We can't blame the owner. We can't blame the guy from the NFL because he's now giving extra picks to teams who develop these minority coaches to become head coaches. He's doing everything he can, but we're starting to see it through these secret text messages. We're starting to see now things are making sense. Why did the offensive coordinator for the oh my God, not the Bills, Bill Belichick, his offensive coordinator. Somebody help me with who was the offensive
Josh
coordinator.
McDaniels.
He denied 2 coaching positions in the last 2 years. And there's a reason why. And now he got one in Oakland. Is because, and you saw the text exchange between Bill Belichick and Brian Flores, and he made a mistake. That is showing you that there is more of a power struggle with all these things. Like you got to know somebody, and you got to fit into this boys club. You got to fit into this agenda. You do, and we're not. As a black person, we're not asking to get it handed to us. We'll work for it. We'll give you the resume. Let us sit at the same table and have the same opportunities. And that's not just NFL. It goes in life. I worked at Disney, and I worked my way up, and I train now. I train to teach people that you can do the same thing I'm doing. That's all we want to see. That's it. Like, that's really all. It's really, it gets to me. It's really disheartening, but something has to change. And I hope this Brian Flores investigation really put a light on a problem that we just flat out have.
I think, thank you, first of all, for all that. And I think it goes further than just, I think there's something else to be said when you look at the opportunities that are given to black coaches and the short leashes that they're given. Case in point, Steve Wilkes was hired by the Arizona Cardinals before Cliff Kingsbury. Had a rookie quarterback in Josh Rosen, had a terrible season, fired after 1 year. Next year, Cliff Kingsbury comes in with Kyler Murray, terrible first season, retained for 2 more years. And you see that where minority head coaches are being let go at a faster rate than some of the cis white guys that are getting the same jobs and doing the same performance.
And I want to point out too on that, to go to the Arizona note, we knew Josh Rosen was a bust. Mm-hmm. We knew it wasn't necessarily the coach's fault. That's a GM, point immediately off the bat.
It's a Steve Keim
So when you see, a head coach going, I did the best I could. Let's talk about Houston real quick. He had
Did
Deshaun
totally.
Watson sit out, J.J. Watt leave, traded away DeAndre Hopkins the season before. Like there is no talent inside that Houston organization, and he still manages to keep them at the same record and produce good results for the city of Houston, and he's let go nearly immediately. And so we kind of run into an issue where why is the buck stopping at the head coach when we're talking about GMs? Like we know that GMs are historically the issue in a lot of places. Brian Flores in Miami, we know that it's a GM issue. It's really not a head coach issue. Brian Flores wanted Justin Herbert, and we got Tua. It's not to we don't have to knock Tua about that. You know what I mean? But like, there's things that occur that the coaches get put blame for, and then get a short leash by the ownership. Not just because they were not bad, not good at their job. There's other extenuating reasons, and nobody seems to talk about the reasonings behind all of these issues either.
Mm-hmm.
And just one thing, it's if you become a head coach, if you're black, you have to be perfect. You have to get lucky like Mike Tomlin and have Big Ben as your quarterback that he can coach for 15 years. If not, you're on the shortest leash that you'll ever see. You will get cut. Now it looks like you're a stopgap. The guy in Arizona, it looks like a stopgap. The guy in Texas, in Houston, a stopgap. You have to be perfect. You have to damn near probably go 15-1 and go to the Super Bowl, and maybe you'll get a contract extension. You got to be perfect now, and it has to something has to change. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can't no one can sit here and tell me that, and this is not to knock the credentials of Doug Peterson or Brian Daboll or Dennis Allen even. But you can't tell me that those three dudes are more qualified to be the head coach of an NFL franchise than Brian Flores and Eric Bieniemy. There's nothing you can put on the table. Brian Flores had back-to-back winning seasons with a team, no offense, Ant, that was perennially a dumpster fire. And he managed to turn it around with a quarterback that he didn't think he could succeed with. Running a 2-quarterback system with Ryan, I'm probably just going to retire straight to the retirement home, Fitzpatrick. And then again, Eric Bieniemy, we talk about him all the time. Like, this guy has every credential you want. Why did Mike Zimmer hold a job for that long with the results that he had? Right? Something needs to change.
I think another thing that often I think fails to get the recognition that it deserves inside these conversations is and I'm not going to cut it, softly. Like, nepotism is the NFL. Mm-hmm. For anybody who doesn't know what that word means, it's you hire your friends. And that's just how it works. And when the consistency and makeup of the NFL coaching positions is overwhelmingly white male and not African American or minority, it's really hard for those people to, in the culture of nepotism, rise to a place where they're accepted and brought to the spotlight for these positions and opportunities. It's really hard to do. And the coaches that we've seen succeed that, have done that are, in all honesty, Mike Tomlin, Brian Flores, and I can't think of Lovie Smith, Tony Dungy. And that's off the top of my head because those are some of the legendary coaches of the last 20 years that are minorities. And even when they had success, it wasn't always, hey, you were perennially the favorite for the job at this position next year. When Manning left Indianapolis, Tony Dungy left. Now, granted, Tony Dungy also kind of was in the retirement phase of his career, but they didn't really necessarily want to give Tony Dungy a longer lease now that his quarterback had left. So it's even tied to that kind of an experience as well. So,
mind you, Tony Dungy built that Buccaneers team that Gruden the next year won. Yes, I know Gruden, the coach, but he built that team and then was let go, and they won the Super Bowl that next year. I'm sorry, you can't change it in a whole year and think you won the Super Bowl. No, he built that from the ground up.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the Rooney Rule has done had done great things to get minority coaches in a position to interview, but there needs to be a next step to that. There needs to be more accountability for this, because a lot of times, you saw it with the Giants hire of Daboll. They brought in Flores from what it looks like from the outside looking in with the lawsuit and stuff. They brought in Flores as a formality. Sure, they showed him around for 8 hours for a full day, had a full schedule. But as someone who deals with contracts, for one-off contracts with people that are literally do this for 10 minutes, those contracts take weeks to put into place. And yet Daboll had a multi-year contract with an NFL franchise ready to announce the next day. So you can't tell me that position was already filled by the time Flores went in there and interviewed. And I think that's the problem, is that they're doing this as a formality now instead of giving these obviously qualified minority coaches the opportunity they deserve.
And like
you first.
And I'm not knocking the people who just got it. I know Doug Peterson got the job in Jacksonville. I'm not knocking them, but it just seems kind of crazy that they can fail, get fired, and then still get a job before somebody who hasn't had a chance to do that role. And I'm looking straight at Eric Bieniemy. Doug Peterson already got his second head coaching job. Eric Bieniemy is still an offensive coordinator. Next season, he will still be the offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. It's just give it a chance. Don't go with your buddy. Like don't go with it. Brian Flores, literally Miami was 1-7 to start the season, and he capped all 7 straight. And I'm sorry, and I'm a huge Dolphins fan. There's no way we should be winning 7 straight games with the offense that we had. Tua pretty much throwing no further than 20 yards down the field, and a defense that really was a break defense. Should be no reason why he doesn't have a coaching job right now.
Yeah.
I want to, one more note on top of that too, is that, and we know this from how the NFL works as well. I think Emmanuel Acho summed it up best the other day. There are 3 kinds of coaches in the NFL. You have sustainers, you have builders, and you have floppers. Floppers are self-explanatory. Part of the problem in the NFL is that the sustainers who come in and sustain well traditionally are kept, but because of the culture of nepotism, you have the whole system already set up. Mike Tomlin is the only coach that I can think of in the last 20 years who came in and sustained a perennially great franchise and kept it going, right? Who was not hired to a system that was already being broken. Everybody else, the reason Doug Peterson got hired is because he's a builder. He came in and rebuilt the entire Philly organization from the ground up and took them to a Super Bowl in 2 years. And Jacksonville said, I want that, But the problem is, at the same time, the minority coaches haven't even been given a chance to do that in other locations. We know Byron Leftwich and even that Todd Bowles are head coach caliber coaches in Tampa Bay. And Bruce Arians has said as much repeatedly on numerous occasions. And we count Bruce Arians as one of the greatest head coaches and offensive minds in NFL history. He's the one who groomed Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, worked with Brady, the whole list, Ben Roethlisberger, all these quarterbacks who became great. That was Bruce Arians. And he says, hey, Byron's the guy. He said, Todd Bowles is the guy. And they can't even get, proper interviews to a job that they by all rights should get, much like Eric Bieniemy. So, it's also weird. And I want to take this route for 2 seconds, just because I want to hear, Anthony, your thoughts on it and go through this. There is also a weird obsession in the NFL on coaching trees. It's very weird. The Belichick coaching tree up in the north, they will drop everything to grab a Joe Judge. They did it with Matt Patricia in Detroit. There's a weird obsession with coaching trees. But if we also look back, we can see Tony Dungy's coaching tree. And Dungy's coaching tree is one of the most storied coaching trees in the NFL. The other being, I don't remember who Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, and that group comes from, but they also come from another tree.
That was Mike Shanahan's tree.
Right, Mike Shanahan's tree. And so we have this whole set of coaching trees that one of them is run by a minority head coach who is, by all accounts, legendary. And that group still includes 3 white guys out of 4. Lovie Smith was in that group and came and met him at the Super Bowl. And so we're also losing coaching trees as we move forward because we don't have the proper minority representation across the board. So that's a whole conversation. I kind of want to see, Anthony, where you take that.
I can't knock this a fantastic tree with Tony Dungy, the Mike Shanahan's. But they had to start somewhere. Let's talk about Mike Shanahan. He literally Barry Switzer. He literally walked on and asked for a job. He didn't play college football. He was like a JV sitter, and he worked his way up. I don't like the coaching tree because the Belichick one had Romeo Crennel, it had Charlie Weiss, and it had a bunch of people who flopped that they gave him a job immediately. You should NFL learn from that. And I think these organizations not like because there's no reason for Joe Judge to jump in front of a lot of people just because he was on the same Patriots team that had some guy named Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. That doesn't mean Joe Judge never called a play there. These people, these coaches like Lovie Smith and them that got a job, they were coordinators. They were under that tree for a while before they got the job. Joe Judge came there in 2016. And like it's crazy. Like that's like an excuse. I'm not saying it's an excuse. Plain and simple, to say that it's an excuse that it's part of a tree of a coach that was legendary decades ago, so this person is going to do it. No, the NFL is different from the 70s to now. The way we play football, the way we protect the quarterback, the way we score, the way our defensive mindset. You need somebody that understands these players. And I'm sorry, I said it last week. Why Deion is grabbing all of these top recruits because they want somebody that they can relate to. The organization that's killing it right now is the NBA. NBA has half of their coaches are black, a minority. The NFL has 70% black players with 3 coaches. And you're telling me that this is working? No, you need fresh blood in there. You got to give them a chance. That's why I think every NFL coach should have a 3 to 4 year contract that you can't get out of unless it's something crazy happens. You got to give these people a chance because you know what? We'll give all the Joe Judges in the world a chance. We'll give these people who got fired before Peterson and them, we'll give them a chance again. I'm so happy that Lovie Smith got the job at Houston, but this whole tree of coaching, man, they got to let that go because right now we're at the very bottom of that tree. We're at like a rotten leaf at the bottom instead of the tree that's at the top. Like Dudgy retired, Shanahan retired. His son is doing well. That's fine. But now I hope Mike Tomlin built a tree. Yeah. And let's see. I'm just curious now because he's been there for 15 years. Let's see if that tree is starting to go get jobs. Yeah. Let's see that. I'm just mind blown real quick about Byron Leftwich. He was the offensive coordinator for Brady, and he couldn't get the job for the Jaguars? After what happened with Urban Meyer and all the organizational stuff, he couldn't grab that? I understand Doug Peterson built up the Eagles team, but Leftwich played for the Jaguars. That is instant ticket sales. I don't get it. It's,
my buddy Rusty's a diehard Jags fan, and the minute all the news was breaking, they were gonna hire Byron Leftwich, he changed every profile picture to him in his Byron Leftwich jersey. It was like instantly. I have this listed later on down at we're talking about coaching trees and what's happening. So the Panthers, have had to fill a lot of assistant roles, coordinator roles, this offseason because no one wants to work with Matt Rule. But so the Panthers have hired Ben McAdoo, who's 44, Chris Tabor, who's 51, James Campen, who's 57, and Paul Pasqualoni, who is 72. All 4 of those men are white. And today they lost 2 coaches, Frisman Jackson and Jason Simmons, 42 and 45 respectively, who are both black. They have changed their coaching tree to be more white. And so this isn't just a head coaching problem. This is an entire staff problem. Now,
And
it's
I want
really
to
cool. Carolina did just promote a woman to be their president of operations. Their first woman in that position, which is dope to see a woman get that opportunity that she so very much deserves. But when you're replacing all of these, offensive coordinator, they had Jeff Nixon, who's a black man, as an offensive coordinator in Carolina, and they replaced him with Ben McAdoo. What has Ben McAdoo done besides ruin Eli Manning's starting streak?
I want to take us a step further too, and kind of flip this to the Browns and remind everybody that the Browns GM Andrew Berry is a minority GM, and that man turned around the entire Cleveland Browns organization along with the head coach to a playoff Browns team for the first time since the 90s. Like people need to let stuff like that sink in. Like very much how we're talking about Brian Flores and the Dolphins. Like that Browns team is because Andrew Berry came in and said, cool, we're restructuring everything. We're going out to get the players that we need. We're bringing in people. And you can talk about Odell all you want and how that panned out. But like that was a good decision to go get Odell. To pair him up with Jarvis Landry, to put Baker and get Nick Chubb and that running game rolling like behind Stefanski. Like he knew what he was doing and he did it well, and he should be lauded quite well for that. And I think the NFL needs to take some notes from the Browns now too.
Yeah. Nate, how do you feel, bro? I know.
It's
we've been
I
going.
really appreciate everything that everybody's brought in here in this conversation. I'll always hold my thoughts so I can make sure that I'm trying to speak as appropriately as I can without stepping on anybody. And but I completely agree with you guys. And for me, I feel like when you're talking about how like a coach gets an opportunity and they feel like stopgaps, you got to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? There's like, oh, we're doing this, like we're going through the motions, but are you really trying? And like when I'm gonna be honest, like I thought it was awesome. Like when you see, because I have my team, right? We had Todd Bowles. I try to forget Adam Gase ever existed, and then we got Robert Saleh. And I think that there's, and I can't speak to this myself, but from my understanding and what I've seen in my life is that people who go through hard times bring that with them, and that's something that can make you stronger and that can make you a better leader. And when you have people that are coming from different backgrounds, that have gone through different types of adversity, that is an asset to your team. Obviously it can be something personal. It's something that's very real. It affects your life, from the moment when you're a kid, the way that things happen. But you take that and that makes you better at what you're doing down the line. You have that perspective. And I think especially when you have teams, it's all team driven, right? It's about the players working together with the coaches, and it's not just the head coach, it's the coaching staff, and it's the guys down the line outside of the head coach. And when you bring in a diverse group of people from a wide variety of backgrounds and they work together, you're just going to have more options for solving a problem, right? If everybody's from the same background, they see a problem, it's not going to be super surprising to see that they all come up with the same conclusion. And whether that's successful or not is, it's kind of beside the point. If you're trying to turn an organization around, if you're trying to, rebrand the way that people look at your team, trying to bring people in that can really show what those different walks of life can bring to that position, I think is something that is really important. And I think this is a great conversation to have. I'm just trying not to say too much because I could never understand what it's like to be in that position, to go up and just have somebody already writing me off in an interview because of something like that. But you got to give people the benefit of the doubt too when they're in those positions. It's if someone doesn't do well, just immediately writing them off. The Brian Flores thing just still blows my mind. It doesn't make sense. I would have been jumping for joy if I had a team that seemed like it was starting off that rough, able to turn it around. If you have a guy in charge that can do something like that, maybe nobody's perfect. Everybody has flaws, right? We're all human, but like to not give someone the benefit of the doubt when they can show you that they have the capability to elevate your team, that they can work together, they can make these problematic situations, possible to overcome. I think that's really the worst part about it all, because it's obviously you want people to have opportunities, but you're costing yourself opportunities by being ignorant of who can actually help you.
Good.
Agreed.
It's good.
And
So
we'll let Ant round out this conversation.
Yeah.
Kind of, anything else you want to say about this, bud? This is yours.
I just hope for change. I know we ask for it every year. There's so much ugly that goes on, and I'm like fortunate every Tuesday to sit and talk about it, because we deal with ugliness in the world, and I just hope for just change. It's not going to happen this season. Obviously, the coaching spots are filled, but maybe this is just a wake up call for the NFL, and not just NFL. Maybe all the organizations around the sports organizations. It needs to change. We need to start seeing people, a minority, in the head coaching positions and the GMs. I know Chicago has one, and it'd be really uplifting. It really will. And I'm sorry, I'm not gonna ever be quiet about it. I'll be correct about it. I'll make sure I'm not saying crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just that's all I ask for. And I think we all agree that's what we want to see, is just changes to something that we love to watch every Sunday.
Agreed. Thank you. Thank you for taking this the direction you did, bud. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
You always have a platform with us to talk about this, and I think we all agree that change needs to happen, not just in football but around the world in this regards.
Thank you. Appreciate it, y'all.
Of course. Now, so let's talk about it. Lovie Smith is the head coach in Houston.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But this is kind of baffling to me. So Houston hires Lovie Smith. They get rid of David Culley, who did pretty dang good with someone like Mills, right? Rookie quarterback. This cloud over the organization with all the stuff happening around Deshaun Watson. And then they hire Lovie Smith, who was their defensive coordinator. And Lovie Smith's like, hey, by the way, we're keeping the entire same staff.
Beautiful.
Someone make this make sense to me.
So I was thinking about this as we were kind of going through the other topic. I think some of it is understanding, I would say, veins of seniority almost. Like there's a recognized understanding that Lovie Smith is who Lovie Smith is, and Lovie Smith has been to a Super Bowl, and Lovie Smith knows exactly what he's doing. So like, there you go, David Cullen, like you did good. Lovie Smith's right there. Like, and it's a cyclical approach there. I would much rather see kind of this, than something that, than what's happening in Miami, say like, hey, Dave Cullen, you're not our guy for the head coach position. That's cool. Thank you for your service. Like defensive coordinator, Lovie Smith, let's go. That's much what I'd rather see than, this, as we were referencing earlier, the bouncing of coaches and stuff. But the point being in that is Lovie Smith, saying Lovie Smith already carries a weight to it, And so if Lovie Smith says, hey, we already got the people in the building that we know that can make this succeed, we just have to give it time. I think the organization's ready for that, given the fact that they know at this point that like Watson's not coming back. he made his statement.
Maybe. I mean, I think he has the same quarterback coach, Pep Hamilton. Lovie Smith was on that team. Maybe he can talk. I think I don't put it past. I mean, we're attaching Deshaun Watson with Brian Flores, but if he doesn't get a head coaching job, I mean, I don't see Watson sitting out another year if things with his legal thing clears up. I wouldn't be surprised. It's the NFL that Watson gets a change of heart, and somehow because of Lovie Smith and that thing, they bring him back. I'm not saying he will, but I mean, it's gonna be interesting all season.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Speaking of crazy, the Saints hired Dennis Allen. Now, Nate, let's talk about this one. So Dennis Allen has a head coaching record of 8-28. he spent
That's encouraging.
5 years with the Oakland Raiders, and was absolutely trash as a head coach. Let's just say it. He listen, his quarterbacks were Terrell Pryor and Matt McGloin, so it's not like he had a lot of things going for him. Is this a hire because he's been the defensive coordinator in New Orleans for 6 years, or 7 years? Is that it, just to keep the Saints intact following Sean Payton's retirement?
I think having somebody familiar with the organization makes sense to a degree. The previous experience, it's like I'll be honest, I'm not the expert on Dennis Allen specifically as a coach, so I'm not 100% sure where all of those games come from. Was he filling in? Where did that opportunity end up? So maybe this is them trying not to cause too much chaos. Maybe they're waiting. They're not really like crazy about the options that they have that are available in the league. But
and to be fair, I want to say this: he did lead the Saints defense when they won the Super Bowl. So there is some merit to be said. Like, his head coaching record at the moment may not be like the nicest, but he has experience following Sean Payton to a Super Bowl, seeing that culture and rolling through it. And like I just said with the Houston hire, I'd rather it be internal organization hires than external. There's something about it. There's something about the culture. There's something about knowing the players. I don't remember if you guys remember when who was the head coach at Notre Dame that left to LSU? I don't remember his name.
I don't know, but he's got the worst fake Louisiana accent I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's great, but if you remember the scene when they hired their defensive coordinator to the head coaching position, and he's a minority coach, like the locker room went berserk. Like they were like, no, our coach is here. It's our coach. Kind of mentality. And so I'm hoping that that's kind of the energy that's happening inside the New Orleans organization at the moment.
I don't want to be that guy. He was the secondary coach of New Orleans in the Super Bowl. I don't want to be that guy, but I also don't want you to speak.
That's fair.
One very important thing about this head coaching thing for Dennis Allen, he has familiarity with Jameis.
Oh God! All right, let's move on. Miami Dolphins announced their new head coach. Mike McDaniel, the offensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, who managed magic out of Jimmy G.
I got to say a lot of things about this man.
But you also got a Dolphins fan sitting right next to you.
I did some research because, I'll be honest, didn't know who the hell he was. But I had to do some extensive research, and this was between him and Kellen Moore for Dallas. And I'm really happy we went with him over Kellen Moore, and the reason why is he has creative minds when it comes to the running game. He's
a savant.
Yes, Dolphins been in the bottom half of rushing offense for the past 5-6 years. If you want to keep Tua upright, if you're believing in Tua, that's what the organization, Chris Greer and Stephen Ross, they believe in him. You gotta have a better running game, and Mike McDaniel was the one that was pulling Trent Williams from the left side all the way to the right to block on the other side. They're pulling guards and tackles. They're doing misdirections. You saw what San Francisco was doing when the running game was on point. This was a I hate to say sexy move, but this is a outside the box move. Hopefully he can help with the running game. I'm not gonna lie, I had to do some research. He's a young kid.
So I'm gonna say this, and this is a couple things about Mike McDaniel here. Number one, he comes from the same group as Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, and Sean McVay. First of all, he's smart. Kid went to Yale, graduated from Yale. Number three, I don't know if you saw his press conference. I think it was about 3 weeks ago.
Mike
where he's
Jones.
talking about the run game. I'm not talking about that.
For those of you who don't know who Mike Jones is a rap legend from Houston, and there's a beat reporter in San Francisco whose name is also Mike Jones. So when they announced Mike Jones, he started talking, and then Mike McDaniel goes, "Who? Mike Jones?"
It's a good press conference.
Yeah.
But what I was referencing is a couple of weeks ago, he was asked why they were pitching on inside runs. And he gave a football answer. He's like, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. It's literally why you asked the question, is because nobody else does it. And it changes up the way the defense reacts, because traditionally tosses are reserved for outside runs. And he goes on a 2-minute conversation with the press about why he started tossing inside runs on specific formations. Like, this kid is smart. Kyle Shanahan himself mentions a lot of the time where he's like, yo, he's the only reason that our run game works. He's like, I work other stuff. He runs the run game. And that is a very, very set of very, very high praise. He has brought Kyle Shanahan has brought him from his Atlanta days all the way through to San Francisco. On top of the fact that he's biracial, a minority coach, in some in that way, like, he's smart. I am so excited to see him coach just because of the way he talks and thinks about the game. On top of that, his press conferences are hilarious.
Yeah.
I have no idea how the Miami media is going to handle him, because he shows up to press conferences joking and laughing his ass off and like playing around with the press. I don't know what's going to happen. So Anthony, you tell me what that's going to be like.
It's a complete opposite from like the hard nose of Brian Flores, obviously. And like November, Flores stopped talking with the team, the coaches, and you got this guy coming in, Mike McDaniels, that is literally, he has a lot of energy. I watched his thing when he FaceTimed Tua on the jet heading into Miami.
That was awesome to see.
And that right there, if that's saying we believe in Tua, they made sure everybody, they even showed Tua's face on the FaceTime, and he just said, hey, look, we're going to get it done. We're going to build around you. At this point, however I feel about Tua and whatever, I love that a coach, he made a statement. That's making a statement, because every time Flores, he will say the right thing, but then you'll hear a report that he wanted Watson. You'll hear a report that he wanted Herbert. And then he gets into a fight with Tua on Thanksgiving Day. This is exactly what you need for an organization to build on something. Yeah. I'm excited for it.
And then the last major head coaching hire, Jacksonville hires Doug Peterson. Now, Nate, you and I are the two Eagles fans by proxy, so we're the experts here.
I was just talking to my brother about this on the phone this morning.
So tell me, what do you think about it? From what you've seen from Doug Peterson in the past in the Eagles, do you think he's the right guy to come in and really rebound this team and rebuild this team with Trevor Lawrence?
I'll be honest. I didn't really like have anything that I thought was super bad about him. The vibe for me and all my Pennsylvania fam, we were like, yeah, I mean, they did a great job. They put together a very solid team, and then they picked up another quarterback, and all of this crazy drama started. So I've the perspective back east, back home, was that you're just causing too much trouble, right? At some point, there's too many people that have a bad taste in their mouth. Team issues kind of being caused by this breaking out. So I like that. I like the whole thing where he ended up leaving, going to Jacksonville, working with another young quarterback, right? It's not Wentz this time. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence, offensive minded dude. I like the aggressive play calling. I think this is a big opportunity for him to try with Trevor to turn this team into something that's decent. But again, like we said last year,
and they have some studs on that roster, by the way.
Yeah. And the only thing that I try to keep in mind with these conversations, and the counter to this is one of the teams in the Super Bowl. But there's a reason why they just had that number one pick, and there's a reason why they got it again. So that's if a team, if the team like the Bengals can get turned around in two to 3 seasons, then hey, maybe Doug Peterson's like, I'm gonna turn these guys into another playoff team. We're gonna be slinging it. We're gonna lean into the strengths of Trevor Lawrence and make this happen. Anything I think is a massive upgrade from the absolute dumpster fire that Urban Meyer was over there, though.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was reading up about the Peterson hire, they were talking about press conference and who's ready to move forward and really move forward with the franchise. And it was like, Josh Allen said he's ready to move forward after first meeting with Doug Peterson. And it took me a solid 20 minutes to remember that Josh Allen's a defensive player for the Jaguars. And I was like,
you remember the infamous interception?
Yeah, I was like, why are we talking about Josh Allen, the quarterback for the Jaguars? And it took forever to click. But I'm excited for the Jags. I think Doug Peterson is a rebuilder. I do think that Leftwich was the better choice here, if you're asking me, especially for developing Trevor Lawrence. Brian Leftwich is a former starter Doug Peterson was a practice squad on Carolina's original team. That's how not good he was. He couldn't even make the roster. So listen, sometimes they say those who can't teach, right? Like maybe that's the case. Maybe he's the quarterback guy. He did win the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. I'm just saying. But I think Brian Leftwich was a better choice for developing Trevor Lawrence. But only time will tell what'll happen with Doug Peterson.
I want to mention too, he has some competition in that division. You know, the AFC South is the Texans, the Colts, the Jaguars, and the Titans. So, you know, he's going to have to get through King Henry, and he's going to have to get through the revamped Indianapolis, which has a solid defense and a solid
running
back. You
back.
can say what you want about Wentz, but yeah, just the running back. Right. But, you know, you have to realize that they hired somebody that's going to have to best 3 solid teams in the AFC South at this point, you know, because Lovie Smith should be able to take the Texans back to something, especially if Deshaun Watson returns. And if not, they're going to get themselves a quarterback.
Well, they have Mills, and Mills looked good with what he had around him this season. So
yes,
I think a couple of teams there. That whole division, right, is kind of in that state of flux, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of teams that are making these moves. I think that creates perhaps even more opportunity, right? Maybe that's part of the incentive to go up there. He thinks, okay, who is my competition? The Titans, they're not a complete team. They're a very well coached team. But yeah, like, do I think I can set us up to be throwing better than Ryan Tannehill? Maybe. So
yeah.
Let's see how it goes.
The wild card, they could have Aaron Rodgers in that division as well. So maybe that's good to have Doug Peterson.
Do we do the quarterback carousel question with we could talk about Murray turning his social media off, Wilson saying he's playing
Hey,
we'll do that in a minute, but yes,
around.
we could totally do that.
In other news that no one cares about, Joe Judge is back as New England as an offensive assistant. Who cares? Moving on.
Toss the news.
Toss the news. There's another note here from Mondays, I think, that says Ant and Nell.
I didn't say that, but it's fine. You know, go ahead. I'm pretty sure that was Nate over there. So.
I wrote a little love letter. I thought Ant and Nell looked so damn good today with their football hats on, and I appreciate you as well, Monday. I did not have internet for the last 4 days until like an hour before this show, so it is great to be here and with you. And I feel like we got to get you. I'm gonna have to send you. I've got like 40 of these Jets hats. Don't worry, okay?
Okay,
I
no,
never have
I'll
a good reason to wear
one.
them. Yeah, we don't win very often, so they're mostly mint condition.
So unfortunately, I'll have to pass on that one just because I currently live in Tampa Bay. And I'll be able to grab a Bucks hat with a Brady signature on it, you know, for pretty cheap.
That's
now
fine
that he's
too.
retired.
That's
so
fine too.
Yeah.
As long as it's not another AFC East team, I'm fine.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I'll skip my Patriots jersey that's back at home from the 2008 season.
We can help you light it on fire. Don't worry.
It carries some bitter memories, so that probably works from that season. Yeah.
Yeah.
But seriously, let's talk about the QB shuffle for the offseason real quick.
If you would let us get to the next section that says Nell's got some fun questions for discussion, and I have a little Word document over here that
Why
says...
would I do that?
Why? Why would we have any structure here? Whatever, I don't care. So it's not the first question, but it was on there. It's like, where are some of these? Let's talk about the QB drama that's happening. Nate mentioned it. Kyler Murray has scrubbed the Cardinals from his entire social media presence. What we thought was a match made in heaven, and Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury's going to hell in a handbasket as fast as humanly possible. And I'm not sure what to make of this.
It's Cliff Kingsbury's fault, by the way. I just want to mention. We're just going to leave that right there and just say it that way. There's no way it's Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. Can't be.
Texas Tech.
Wreck 'em. Hey, we're not a football school anymore. We're a basketball school. We're number 9 in the nation.
I got really confused about that. Like, I saw the news, like, he unfollowed everything. First of all, people just have no lives to see this stuff. But, like, because the fact that you really have to go in there. Hold on, Arizona Condors. Let's scroll all the way down. Wait, he's not doing it. I don't know. Nothing was said right now. But if he's on the market, who?
I'm just gonna say
Carolina. We'll take you. Wait, I'm Bengals.
No.
I'm a Bengals fan. We don't need you.
You got Sam Darnold.
We got Joey B.
I'm just.
How much are they paying him again?
19 damn million.
Is it $19 million to Sam Darnold? Sorry,
I don't want to talk about it.
Listen, I'm just gonna say I'm hoping it's a for those of you F1 fans out there, I'm just hoping it's a Lewis Hamilton power move, where he just like disappears from everything for the next like 6 months, and then shows back up like 2 weeks before the season and is like, "Yo, we're ready to go." Because otherwise, there's too much chaos in the NFL if Kyler Murray's like, "Yo, I'm a free agent." Like, I'm just saying.
Isn't he still under his rookie contract?
Yes.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. But then we got Aaron Rodgers. There was a really funny TikTok I saw the other day, and it was like conversation. It was a dude playing Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was talking to Tom Brady. He goes, "Well, Aaron, what are you gonna do?" He's like, "Well, I'm gonna exercise my no trade clause." And Tom goes, "Well, Aaron, you don't have a no trade clause." He goes, "But I do. They threatened to trade me to a team I don't like. I'll just retire."
Do we call that the Gronk rule?
Taking back the power.
I'm like,
On the serious note, though, I don't even know if Aaron ends up anywhere. Mostly because Green Bay officially came out and was like, "Yo, like, we're committed to Aaron." Now, good point from somebody I heard the other day. It doesn't matter. He's still under contract for another year. So Aaron really can't go anywhere unless they trade him anyway.
Yeah.
So Aaron's stuck in Green Bay for another year.
Or he retires.
Everybody can or he retires. Like that. Those are the only two options.
Green Bay, I want him to retire. I'm tired of him.
Listen, did you? I heard this stat the other day. You ready for this one? Both Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre have a just above 500% on playoff games inside Lambeau.
I just want to throw this out there as well. Aaron Rodgers has the same amount of Super Bowl wins as Nick Foles.
I was going to go as Tom Brady in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
But has Nick Foles spent as much time arguing with people on the internet as Aaron Rodgers? Because when I think about the people that I look up to and respect, it's really the guys that just love to constantly remind me of how much they love it when people heckle them. So I don't know. It's kind of a toss up for me.
I mean,
he plays that villain role so well. Like
he could leave, he could retire, but then no one would talk about him, right? So I don't see him going anywhere. He'll be right there. Probably just loving all of it next season.
One final point from that, just because I want to. I know Shannon Sharp is not going to see this, but I want to harp on the fact.
Way to make an assumption.
Oh, absolutely. that Shannon was wrong for like 7 years on Aaron Rodgers being like the GOAT, and we finally just got to this year where he just bails in the divisional round and can't even put up a single like score against the team that they should have, by all accounts, destroyed the 49ers.
Hey, you know what? He was really mad that San Francisco didn't draft him, so they beat him the 5 times he played them. And
in Shannon's defense, the reason why he said that he was like, I love you, Shannon.
I do too. I'm just saying.
I love hey, Skip. So like the reason why he defended him, because he was putting up these crazy numbers, and he was doing it without the help of Bill Belichick, without the help of that organization. He was putting up big time numbers. He was doing it. He had some big wins. He got that Super Bowl.
But who's winning?
Look, I understand Brady. Brady's the GOAT. We understand that. We're tired of Brady. Me and Nate are tired of Brady. We hate Brady so much that we like him from time to time. But like the fact is, Rodgers is about to win another MVP. Like he's gonna go away with this MVP as well.
I don't know. I think they may not vote for him out of spite.
I would honestly not be surprised if Brady wins the MVP the year he retires, simply because everybody in the league is like, "Yo, Aaron, you're a dick." Like it just for that reason. Like literally, like it's ridiculous. So, who else is on the chopping block this year?
Dude, I don't know, but
Deshaun Watson.
I got another.
Like, are we gonna talk about Watson?
No, let's talk about something fun, because we've talked about Aaron Rodgers this whole damn season, and I'm over it. And we've talked about Deshaun Watson for the first 7 weeks of the season. All right, so let's talk about the young quarterbacks of the league.
Okay,
we're in a new era. Big Ben's gone, Tom Brady's gone, Peyton's gone. Aaron Rodgers remains to be seen. This is a new era of the NFL.
Aaron Rodgers is gone. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
So we're starting with Nate. As of today, talking young quarterbacks, so throw Aaron Rodgers out. Who are your top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL?
Whew.
As far as young quarterbacks go,
Yes.
okay, I'm going to interpret this as pretty young quarterbacks. So I'm gonna go. I'm a huge fan of Joe Burrow. I think he's fantastic. I think we're gonna watch him light it up. Yeah, I think he's a top quarterback in the league. I think he's putting that team on his back big time. It gets very difficult past that. I don't know. I'm such a fan of the guys that have been picked up in the last years. Okay, Pat Mahomes is an easy one.
Yep.
Could we all agree? I don't know. I'm a huge fan of Kyler. I'm gonna try to pick someone that wasn't just drafted in the last 2 seasons. So
Okay.
I like Kyler a lot.
All right. What about
Yeah.
you, Paul?
So this may change depending on who wins the Super Bowl here.
No, you can't. You have to make a decision. now. We don't do that
But
here.
I'm going
No
I'm
take
going
backsies.
No take
I'm
backs.
going with number 1, Patrick Mahomes. I think he is too special. Like they lost to the Bucks, sure. But nobody did him any favors, and that man was pulling off stuff that should physically not be capable from that position simply because he had a will to win. You know what I mean? Like, you can say what you want. That Superman pass that hit Tyreek in the face mask in the end zone is probably one of the most iconic throws I've ever seen from a quarterback in NFL history.
Great. So who's
You
your
know?
number 2? That's enough.
Right.
Crying
Number 2,
over Pat Mahomes.
Joe Burrow. Number 2, Joe Burrow.
Okay.
I think if Burrow wins the Super Bowl after beating Mahomes in that fashion, Burrow goes up to number 1 simply because he is actually a phenom. You know what I mean? Like, Mahomes may be the most talented, but Joe Burrow has the Tom Brady qualities of I don't care what's going on, I'm going to win, no, even if I get sacked 9 times in a single game, and I'm still going to put up 500 yards against you. You know, on top of the insanity of his athleticism. Number 3, I want to say Justin Herbert because he is simply astounding, but I'm gonna go with Josh Allen because that man is a monster and nobody can convince me otherwise. Like, he is slowly becoming the run and gun. I don't care if you're in my way, I'm going to run over you, and if you decide to stop me from running, I'm still going to kill you with my arm, because he just has a cannon. So I think those are my top 3. If we were going to go a little bit younger and kind of do like the last 2 years, 3 years maybe, I'm going Burrow, Herbert, Kyler. So
All right, Ant. Ant's jonesing to say something.
So, just want to make it clear, judgment free, right?
No,
Chad?
absolutely not.
Judgment-free
Absolutely
zone.
not. Absolutely not.
Judgment free zone for me. I got you.
judgment free zone, yeah.
No,
Free.
I make the rules.
All right. Number 1 is Patrick Mahomes. I am going to put my foot down. I'm going to say that he will make a Super Bowl run, meaning that he's probably going to go to like 4 straight, probably starting next year, because he's just too talented.
You're telling me,
Like-
hold on. You're telling me Pat Mahomes is about to beat Joe Burrow to go to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row.
Yeah, 100%.
Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert.
No
He
way
doesn't, have
it's
to beat
possible.
he doesn't have to beat every single one of them. He just has to beat maybe 2 of them, because in the playoffs, he doesn't need to beat everybody. He just needs to beat 2 of them. And I just think Mahomes does things that are illegal. That Superman throw, first of all, I rewinded a few times because I was like, man, maybe let me go in the backyard. Let me see if I can do that. Nope, it hurt. I fell on my face. It doesn't work out like that. So Mahomes is number 1. Number 2 for me, and this is tough. I'm just really biased. I love Joey B. I think Joe Burrows is a stud. I think I could see a Brady Manning thing happening with Mahomes and Burrows. I think that is really good. Excuse me. Number 3, Tua. So yeah.
Wait,
those are my
hold
top
on.
3.
Hold
Now, what you
on.
got?
6 weeks ago, you said you didn't even believe in Tua, and then we agreed that Tua doesn't believe in Tua.
I thought we wasn't going to talk about things from weeks ago. Aaron Rodgers, Sean Mahomes. I thought we
Oh,
wasn't
boy.
going to talk about it.
This
So that's
man
why you asked
hating
for the
on
judgment
Tua
free
all
zone.
season, and then now he's a top 3 young quarterback. All right.
Just hear me out, because I don't think nobody else watched Tua the way I did the last when he won the 7 straight games. He has
the
been
Panthers.
through a lot. He's been through a lot already in his 2 years. He fought off the injury that he came from college, that hip injury. He had to sit behind Fitzpatrick, and then going through that back and forth that he dealt with Fitzpatrick. And then this year, all eyes was on him. He still gets hurt because the offensive line is terrible. And he has that built-in leadership. I'm going to go with Tua. This is my top 3. I'm going to go with Tua number 3 because I do see promising things with Mike McDaniels and him.
You smoke whatever you're smoking. I want some of it because you just put Tua above Josh Allen and Herbert. Anywho,
let the man believe.
I'm going to say it this way.
Possible.
I think Tua is a late bloomer, especially with Mike McDaniel coming in. I just don't think he has the talent to match a Josh Allen. I don't think he has the talent to match a Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he won't be good. I'm not saying he's not going to be in that playoff contention every single year, like based on his talent. I'm just saying those other 5 guys at the top there, because you can probably interchange if based on the rest of our conversation. And I assume Nell, you're going to throw them up there too. Like Josh Allen and Herbert are in that top 3 to 5, depending on where you put them. And so I just don't think he's above them. You can put him at number 6. I'll put him at number 6.
Yeah. Hold
but
on.
like I'd also put Derek Carr up there too. Like, so
Derek Carr's old now,
but he is old, yeah.
So real quick before sorry now, this is the reason why I have a lot of hope for Tua. 2 years ago, he played against Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. He went touchdown for touchdown with Kyler Murray. Tua threw for 400 plus yards and 4 touchdowns, and Kyler Murray threw for 4, and the Dolphins just won by a field goal. He was able to withstand a high-power offense in Arizona, and he went back and forth. And he didn't just run the ball. He threw the ball deep. He went after it. That's what I see in Tua, and he's a leader. He's a bulldog with it. So that's it.
No, I'm not. And again, like I said, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, if you were to put Josh Allen and Tua up in a contest, I'm going Josh Allen with the jump ball every single time.
Yep.
No, you can go ahead now.
Yeah. Okay. So my top 3 are pretty easy, and it might blow some minds, especially considering some things. Number 1 young quarterback in the league is Joey B. There's no question. There's no question about it. Number 2 is Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen, if he had the supporting cast that Patrick Mahomes has, because Josh Allen, gotta remember, only has Stephon Diggs to throw the ball to. Okay? And if we're going number 3, we're going to ruffle some feathers. Justin Herbert. Because I think
he's awesome.
As much as I love Patrick Mahomes, Texas Tech alum, I love everything about our school, and I love everything about Patrick Mahomes. I think if you throw Mahomes in Buffalo, you throw Mahomes in San Diego, whatever. They're still the San Diego Chargers to me. And you throw him in Cincinnati, he's not performing as well as those 3 quarterbacks.
You're right. He's going to win a Super Bowl with that.
No,
team.
Absolutely not.
If he goes to Buffalo with that defense, Mahomes,
he's going to be throwing picks every other play because he's only got one person to throw to, so he's going to be staring them down.
That offense for Buffalo, no, he's winning 2 Super Bowls off the rip with that defense alone.
I don't think so.
No, absolutely not.
Especially with that offensive line. Like, we saw what happened once that offensive line broke down in Kansas City against Tampa Bay. And to be fair, that offensive front from Tampa Bay is deadly scary. But, like, that offensive line started to break down, and Mahomes said, I have to do it myself. And he tried to do it himself. And in all honesty, he almost succeeded because they kept dropping footballs for him. But the point being is, like, if that offensive line was consistently like that, I don't think he succeeds as well as he does. I also will back up Nell here. Josh Allen is a beast. Like, Josh Allen, if you had to go up against Josh Allen, you are scared. If you have to go up against Justin Herbert, you're kind of scared. If you're going against, Joey B, he's not going down no matter what you throw at him. Like you could just blitz every single play and Joey's going to go, cool, I got hit. Congratulations. I'm standing up and throwing a touchdown. Like, so, I just think I'm personally more scared of Patrick Mahomes than Joey B for whatever reason. Yeah.
That's fair.
Maybe it's the talent. Maybe it's the stupid angles that he throws from with velocity for no apparent reason after being a quarterback myself and getting, scouted to play D2, D3 college ball. Like, the stuff that Patrick Mahomes does with the football should be impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it scares me. Like, and Joey B does what he does so well. That's why it scares me. I just think Mahomes, you can't plan for Mahomes the way you'd plan for Joey B or
Joey
Josh
B got
Allen.
sacked 9 times and still won the game.
No,
But
I agree.
let's talk about what this entire episode is supposed to be about, which is the Super Bowl happening on Sunday. All right, Nate, let's talk about this Super Bowl.
Let's go, baby.
This is the second time that 2 number 1 picks are going head to head in the quarterback position in the Super Bowl. Last time was Cam Newton, Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Shut up, Ant. So this is obviously going to be Stafford versus Burrow, but let's talk about it. What are your keys to the game for both teams to win this? What does Cincy have to do, and what do the Rams have to do to come out ahead?
Well, it goes without saying that since you've already mentioned the 9 sacks, you don't want those going on to Joe Burrow from anybody, but you particularly don't want those sacks coming from Aaron Donald. So I think it goes without saying that has to be a huge focus. If they're running gun spread, maybe they're gonna have to think about who they want to have in the backfield blocking, or keeping a tight end on that side just to help pitch in. Especially, we like this conversation we were just having about the young quarterbacks. If Joey B is going to be trying to play the pocket and make those kinds of plays, everything in the game has to be around just giving him at least a couple of seconds to find somebody to throw the ball, because he's good enough to do it. He doesn't need a crazy amount of time. We know that. But if he gets beat up, it turns into that, oh, yeah, we know Mahomes is really good, but he got, absolutely run over by the D line in that secondary in the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers the last season. So that's my big thing for the Bengals. And I didn't have a Bengals hat or any orange. I don't actually own anything orange to wear, I discovered today. But yeah, they're doing it for Harambe. So I'm on the side of the Bengals. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but the Bengals are dedicating their Super Bowl run to Harambe, who was, tragically murdered in the Cincinnati Zoo, 2016. So, all respect to them. I believe in them. I believe in their mission. The only thing I love more than underdogs is stuff that doesn't make sense. So, I'm leaning that way.
Cool. What's your final pick on this game then?
Bengals probably, let's say 24-21. There you go.
All right. Paul, let's hear your thoughts on this. Cincinnati, it's more than Stafford versus Burrow. You're also talking about 2 very good defensive, front sevens. They both have a front seven that's absolutely stellar, and secondaries that have been exploited quite frequently.
I honestly, and I'm going to say this, and this may be a little bit of a thing some people didn't think of. I honestly think it's going to be Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar Chase.
We talked about that last week. We did think about that.
We can go back to that, because I think much like we saw with Burrow getting 9 sacks, I don't think it matters how much that front seven works on Joe Burrow if Jamar Chase does Jamar Chase things. I think, and honestly, in the same way on the flip, I think if Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham have a game, I think it's over for Cincy. I think if Jamar Chase has a game, it's over for LA. Because both Stafford and Burrow have proven time and time again that both of them don't care how much punishment they take. They will get the ball to who it needs to go to win the game. Stafford did it in Detroit with Calvin Johnson for years, and now he has Odell Beckham and Cooper Kupp. He did it against both Tampa Bay, and he also did it last week against the 49ers, and said, I really don't care. Cooper Kupp is just going to take us through the game. And OBJ had a couple of those really, really big 3rd down plays and great catches that he's known for. So I think if Jalen Ramsey has a bad game and can't keep Jamar Chase down, we're going to run up the score on this game the same way that the Rams would run it up on the other side. So actually, I'm going to go a little bit closer to 30. I think we're going to be about a 31-27 game. But I honestly think the Rams are going to take it, because I don't think the Bengals defense has enough to stop both Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham in a gunslinging match. So,
yep. All right, Ant. Super Bowl time. Let's talk about this. You and I have been in love with Jamar Chase all season, and we've given a little bit of love to T. Higgins all season. But on the opposite side of the ball, we have Cooper Kupp. What are the deciding playmakers for this game?
So at first I was going to say for Joe Burrows to not get rattled under the big stage. But this might be one of the few young quarterbacks. I'm not worried about somebody who is on the big stage. I think he lives for it. Obviously, he did in LSU. My watch is with Paul is with Jalen Ramsey and Jamar Chase. The thing about Jalen Ramsey, he's a boundary quarterback. He doesn't follow the number one receiver until that receiver gets hot, and then he'll take that assignment to follow them across the field. I think it's gonna go down to that second that Higgins. It's gonna go down to, does Cincinnati have enough weapons? Can you get Mixon involved in the running and the passing? You need to make sure Stafford is not on the field. Now for LA needs to start out warm. They cannot be going into like the 49ers game that we watched. They started slow, they looked bad. If that was a high power offense, we would have somebody else in the Super Bowl besides the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to come out early. I would abandon the run off the rip. You're really gonna have to throw the ball. Cup, OBJ, you have all these targets. Get them out there. You gotta scare Cincinnati because they haven't been in this type of situation. McVay's been in the Super Bowl. He's been in there. Stafford is fine. He's a weathered person. I think, and I'm gonna be so wrong off of this. This is a high scoring game. Somebody's gonna score 40, and I really think that all these points are gonna happen after Dr. Dre and everybody perform at halftime.
Can we talk about that real quick? Can we talk about the star-studded halftime show that like 60% of the people watching the Super Bowl are more hyped for the halftime show?
A bunch of Gen Z kids are about to find out about their parents at halftime.
Yep. And so it's I think somebody's gonna score. It's gonna be 40. Can I say 42-39? It's gonna be a 3-point game.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna drop that 40-point, and the person who's gonna drop 40-point, and this is why I waited, because I'm still torn right now, but I'm going to give that slight edge to Stafford.
Ooh.
He is going to drop. He's going to be the Super Bowl MVP. He is going to cement his legacy. He is going to go over that hump from like the Matt Ryans and the Phillip Rivers. He's going to solidify himself in the Hall of Fame with this game.
So I agree with almost everything you said, Ant, except you failed to mention one thing. This entire playoff run, Jalen Ramsey has been beat by number one receivers on big plays in every single game. And none of those receivers are Jamar Chase. And I think Jamar Chase is easily a top 3 wide receiver in the league right now. There's no question about it. Even Joe Burrow mentioned it. Joey B mentions it. It's like, F it, Jamar's down there somewhere. Throw the ball. Like, he'll catch it. And I don't think the Rams are going to be able to contain Jamar. And if they're double covering him with a deep zone, and they have their safety eyeing or shadowing Jamar Chase, that just means the 10-foot tall T. Higgins is out there somewhere to catch the ball. And
I want to point out, I don't even think that necessarily matters, because Jamar Chase is a Deebo Samuel as well.
Oh yeah,
Jamar Chase has the Deebo Samuel in the Cooper Cup that says, I caught the ball 2 yards in on a slant, I'm taking it 70 yards. So I think there's something to be said for that, because it doesn't even mean Ramsey has to get beat. If Jamar Chase catches it, it's off to the races. So I just want to attack that on. Keep going.
And then on the opposite side of the field, though, I don't think the Bengals can cover Cooper Kupp. So I agree with you that this is going to be a high-scoring game, but I think this doesn't come down to Kupp and Jamar Chase. I think this comes down to Cam Akers versus Joe Mixon. I think whichever team has the better running game, because the front sevens are going to do their thing. They're going to be everybody want to make some prop bets. There's going to be at least 3 sacks from each defense. That's a guarantee. Aaron Donald's going to have 1.5 sacks minimum. And I think if Joe Mixon, and Nate, you and I talked about this, if he can stop faking himself out of his lanes, which he's done all the time, a wide open lane, let me juke to the right, oh crap, I'm tackled. If Joe Mixon can get his self going with momentum, it's Cincinnati's. Now, if Cam Akers can show back up to what he was before the injury, because we haven't seen it since he came back early from the injury, I think LA has the leg up. The only problem is I don't think Cam Akers has it in him right now to do it, and Sony Michel was absolutely demolished last week. So, I give the edge to the Bengals, 35-28. It's a touchdown.
Can I mention something here too? I just want to mention this. We know Stafford's good, but Joey B's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
There are things going on that people tend to forget about Joe Burrow. Joey B is that guy. Mm-hmm. He is the first quarterback to set out to do a bunch of things. He's the first quarterback in NFL history, if he wins the Super Bowl, to win the national championship, the Heisman, and the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. He will be the only quarterback in NFL history to win all three. He is big time, prime time, always has been, puts up big numbers, doesn't care.
Actually, I'm changing my prediction, by the way. I thought about it, and it's just too good to pass up Money McPherson kicking another game-winning field goal. So the rookie kicker out of Florida kicks a game-winning field goal. It's 35-32 Cincinnati.
I think it's a 3-point game. Mm-hmm. I think Joey B is that guy. And if they can't keep Jamar Chase and Joey B from hitting the LSU connection repeatedly, mm-hmm. I think the Rams are going to lose in a tight game. But I also think I also expect OBJ to have a game because Cooper Kupp is so you can't cover Cooper Kupp, but they're going to try really, really hard. Mm-hmm. And so OBJ is just going to be open and prove all of his doubters wrong for weeks. Also, they talked about this on another show the other day. I want to point out something ridiculous too. For the last almost, I want to say 50 years, it's been the duel of the quarterbacks in terms of popularity in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And the most followed athlete on that field is going to be OBJ. And it's not even close.
Oh, OBJ's he's a social media superstar.
He's like 50 million.
Yeah.
On Instagram and like 7 on Twitter or something.
Yeah.
Nobody else is even close. So I'm also interested to see how that plays out in terms of the media presence, because
well, we'll find out on Sunday, and if you have $6,000, you can go to the game yourself. So with that being said, that brings us to the end of the show. Super Bowl's on Sunday. We'll be live again next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here at twitch.tv/RD Sports, covering a recap of the Super Bowl where my Cincinnati Bengals, I'm saying mine now. I'm a fan. I have multiple pieces of merchandise. I'm officially a fan, right? Don't worry, I have 2 more on the way. I got a Super Bowl hat and a Super Bowl shirt coming.
Let's go.
Yeah, I got a shirt that just says Who Day on the front. I'm so excited. So excited. And
ooh, real quick, so just a little plug. So for the Super Bowl, I do it every year. If you have FanDuel, doesn't matter what state you're in, you can do the bingo for free. And what happens is they give you a bingo board and certain actions in the game happens. Mm-hmm. If it happens, they'll automatically note it for you. If you win, you'll win some crazy stuff. So that's kind of fun. They got stuff like commercials. Who's going to be the first person? Like what celebrity is going to pop in? So it's a little fun for people, especially when the halftime show, when all the kids don't know what's going on. So, yeah.
We'll get Ant to post some information about that in the football channel on the Rare Drop Sports community Discord. So we'll all sign up for that. I'll sign up. I'll do it. I'm also placing some silly prop bets as well. Heads or tails on the on the coin flip, game-winning field goal, all that jazz. But thanks for tuning in. Again, you can find all of our socials down below on if you're listening on the podcast. If you're in Twitch, there is a command somewhere that can do it. I don't know. I'm awful at this. But otherwise, thanks for joining in. Hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. Stay safe if you're going anywhere to watch the Super Bowl and drink. But have a good time. It is the Super Bowl. It's the 3rd biggest holiday in the U.S. Enjoy it.
Have a good one, all.
Everyone take care. We'll see you next time.